All right, Kim Baker here with the Victim Survivor Conqueror Ministry. Uh, Coming to you on this Tuesday evening, and tonight we're going to be starting our study and discussion of anger. Okay, but before I get into tonight's study and material, okay. If you have been following uh, our ministry, you are aware that I have not been doing Tuesday nights for a while now, and I kind of wanted to start out tonight and just kind of give an update and kind of explain some things. Okay. This kind of some, in a way, kind of hard to say, but this past fall, I just wasn't in a good place mentally. I wasn't in a good place spiritually. And I felt like that I needed to take some time away. I did not handle it the right way. What I should have done is explained it to people, let them know what's going on. For that, I apologize. And I ask you to forgive me for that. Okay. So, but I'm back. Okay. Yeah, I've been renewed. I have made some changes to the material and to the presentation. Okay. But one of the biggest things that's going to be taking place, and I'm going to do it over the next month to month and a half. Okay. And that is, I'm going to be rebranding the ministry, the name of the ministry, from Victim Survivor Conqueror Ministry. And it will be called Faith, Family, Forgiveness. Okay. And I'll go into detail later down the road as we go along and kind of explain why I've decided to do this. Okay. But anyway, I'll be here on Tuesday nights at 7. We're going to start out with anger. Okay. This will be 4 weeks long. Okay. If we get to everything in 4 weeks, great. If we don't, that's great too. Okay. Because that's one of the changes that I am making is I'm going to set a specific time frame to do each study. Okay. And I think I can do this in 4 weeks. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. But we're going to be talking about, we're talking about anger. Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't move my mouse. Okay. I am a one-man show here, so I run the volume, I run the board, I do everything. So, and once in a while I do make a mistake. Okay. But anyway, talking about anger. You ever feel like you look like this guy here? Arr. Just your teeth is, you got your teeth showing, you're snarling, your nose is wrinkled up, you know. Yeah, this is how a lot of us look when we're angry, isn't it? It most definitely is, man. I tell you what. So, facing the anger inside of us. Well, let's see what we got here, okay? All right. So first is, what is anger? Okay. Well, anger is a very, very intense emotional response, okay? Triggered by our feelings, okay? Triggered by our feelings because of something that has frustrated us, okay? Maybe we thought it should go one way and it's wound up going a totally different direction than what we thought. Well, it's caused us to be frustrated, okay? Have you ever been frustrated? You ever get frustrated? Yeah, I will admit, I get frustrated. Absolutely, I do. Okay. What about hurt? You could have been hurt by a spouse. You may have been hurt by your mom or dad, maybe your sibling, maybe a brother or sister. Maybe you've been hurt by your kids, your grandkids. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, that hurt can cause a very intense emotional response from us, can't it? It absolutely can. What about an injustice? Okay. You feel like an injustice has been done to you? Does an injustice cause you to have an intensive emotional response? If the answer is yes, then guess what? You're dealing with anger. Okay? You're dealing with anger. Okay? Oh. And we're going to look at these two questions. I got two questions I'm going to ask you. And we're going to look at them a little bit more in depth as we go along. But is anger inherently negative? In other words, is anger do you consider anger to always be something that's negative? I'm going to say that the majority of us do. A lot of people look at it and they think, and they view, oh man, no, I can't get angry. What's it going to look like? What am I going to look like? What's people going to think about me? If I show them that I'm angry, what are they going to think? Okay? So is it inherently negative? Okay? Next question is this. And this gets a lot of response out of my classes, especially on my in-person classes that I've done in the past, is anger a God-given emotion? Okay? One class that I've done at back in 2016 at Amet Hatorah here in Odessa, Texas, church. Ooh, I had a young man that just, he got beside himself over this question. Because I said that anger was a God-given emotion. He said, no, God don't make us angry. God doesn't cause us to be angry. I didn't say he causes us to be angry. Okay. My question is this: is anger a God-given emotion? Okay. Because if we answer no, then what should that tell us? It should tell us that we need to stay as far away from it as possible. Oh, what happened here? Sorry about that. Okay. So if you say that anger is not a God-given emotion, then you should be saying, I should not have absolutely nothing to do with anger because it's not of God. Okay. Now, if you think that anger is a God-given emotion, okay, then we need to deal with it. Okay. Well, like I said, we will talk about these a little bit more down the road here, and we'll probably will tonight to somewhat. Okay. Be angry. The Word of God says, be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. That comes from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26. Okay. All right. Let's unpack this just a little bit here. Okay. Let's start with the very first two words. Well, let's start with the very first one. Be. What does that mean? What's the word be mean here? That we're involved, that we're going to do. There's something that we're going to be doing. Okay. So the Word of God is telling us, be angry. Okay. So if the Word of God is telling us to be angry, then wouldn't that tell us that anger is a God-given emotion? Yes, absolutely. Okay. So it's telling us, okay, be angry. You can be angry. You won't be. You. It's okay to be angry. Okay. Now we got another. Now we got a three-letter word here. And. Okay. Or we could substitute it for another three-letter word. But. Okay. Be angry, but. Okay. When you're reading in the Bible and you see the word but, okay, what's going on there? What this is that's God telling you, hey, pay attention. I got something important that I want you to understand. Okay? So he's saying, hey, be angry. It's okay if you're angry. But, or and, do not sin. Okay? Is that a command? Yeah, actually it is. Okay? It is. That's a command of God. That's a command that God's telling you that, hey, it's all right if you're angry about something. Okay? The initial reaction of being angry is not a sin. Okay? You're driving down the street. You come up to a light. It's green. Okay? You got the green light. You proceed through the intersection. Bam! Somebody hits you. Oh, thank you for hitting my car. Yeah, I just didn't know what I was going to do if I wasn't ever going to get hit. No, you're going to be angry, aren't you? Yes. The initial reaction of having your car hit by someone is going to give you the reaction or the emotion of anger. Okay? So what God is saying is, hey, your car just got hit. It's all right if you're angry over that. It's all right if you're upset because your car got hit. But God goes a little bit farther. He says, but it's okay to be upset, to be angry because your car got hit, but do not sin. So what's in that situation, in this scenario, what's he telling us? Okay, hey, Kim, your car or your truck got hit. Okay, it's okay if you got angry. But guess what, Kim? Don't get out and start cussing, screaming, hollering. Because of it. Okay? Be angry, but do not sin. Okay? All right. In the Old Testament, okay, and I know that the Old Testament was not written in Greek. It was actually written in Hebrew. Okay. But in the Old Testament, what do you think the Greek word for anger was or is? Okay. Well, let's look at that. Okay. OPYN, and you got this is actually the Greek word. Okay. This is how you spell it. Spell anger in Greek. Okay. Over here to the right is the English translation. Okay. Or J. Okay. It's probably pronounced or J. Okay. Or in America, where is he? Why? Because it refers to the strongest emotion that you can have. Okay? So the term or J refers to the word anger in Greek. Okay? But it also refers to wrath. That there's wrath. If you're in an or J, okay, and I'm not 100% sure that I am saying it exactly right, but I think I am. Okay, everything that I've looked up, that's the way it appears to be. Okay, but wrath, it also means wrath. Okay, anger, wrath, indignation. What do you think indignation means? Maybe not that strong, maybe not that. Okay, so probably I probably got these out of order. It probably ought to be indignation, anger, then wrath, because we would assume that wrath is very, very, very intense anger. Okay. So, what is the magnitude of anger? What's the magnitude of your anger? If you were to rate your anger on a scale from the least to the greatest responses or emotions, what would it be? Okay. One thing that we have to understand is that anger is a very complex emotion. Okay. There's a lot of facets to anger. Okay. One, it may be mild irritation. Okay. What? Okay. What does that mean? Well, something may be annoying. Maybe annoying. It could be frustration or displeasure. Okay. So would mild irritation, would that be indignation? Would it be anger? Or do you think it would be wrath? I'm going to say it's indignation. Okay. Now, I don't have a slide for this, but I will. In Mark chapter 10, verse 14, and I'm sorry I don't have a slide for it, but in Mark chapter 10, verse 14, this is what the Word of God says. It says, when Jesus saw this, he was indigent. He said to them, let the little children come to me and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these. That's Mark chapter 10, verse 14. Okay. Who was Jesus talking to here? Do you know? You remember who Jesus was talking to here? Jesus was talking to his disciples. Okay. Here's Jesus sitting on a hillside teaching, and here comes little children to him. And the disciples, oh, no, we can't have that. No. Let the adults come to him. No. So so Jesus got indigent, he got annoyed, he got frustrated, he was displeased with his disciples. Okay? But yeah, I think indignation or being indigent is a mild irritation. Okay? Next is frustration. Okay? This is a little stronger form of anger. It could be triggered by obstacle, maybe a delay, maybe a plane been delayed. Okay, so you're frustrated. Most of us, if you've ever flown, you probably have experienced that. Okay, or maybe there was an expectation that you thought would take place, but it was unmet. In other words, it didn't happen the way you thought it was going to happen. So you get frustrated. Okay. Next is what's called righteous anger. What's it talking about? Righteous, right? I have a right to be angry. Okay. We perceive that an injustice has been done either to us or to someone else, that there's a moral wrong that's taking place. Okay? So we feel like that we have a right to address this situation or this issue. Next level is resentment. Resentment is long lasting. It is deep seated. It is a very deep seated form of anger. It often stems from an unresolved grievance or a perceived mistreatment. Okay. Next is rage. What's rage? It's intense. It's uncontrollable anger that leads to extreme reactions. We can lose our self-control. We become aggressive. Okay? So you see how it's building. Okay? Next is passive aggressive. Being passive aggressive or responding passive aggressively. Okay? This involves indirect expressions of anger. Okay? You might use sarcasm. Have you ever used sarcasm towards someone in a way to kind of alleviate your anger? Okay? What about the silent treatment? What about avoidance? You avoid. You do all these rather than to have a direct confrontation. Next will be chronic or suppressed anger. Suppressed anger. This type of anger might not always be expressed outwardly. Okay? We may not always let it out. This suppressed anger is talking about anger that simmers just beneath the surface. Okay? We're in the winter time right now, aren't we? Yeah. Here in Odessa, Texas, it's been cold this week. We've gotten down into single digits here in Odessa in the desert. But so what would be good during this? What would be something good to eat during this time? Stew? Ooh, yeah. Some stew. Let that thing sit there and simmer. Not boil, just kind of churn. That's what suppressed anger is. Okay? This is anger that we've not dealt with. That we have allowed to just build up over time. Okay? This is the type of anger that, you know, we just come through the holidays. We come through Thanksgiving and Christmas time. Anybody out there have a family member that wasn't there during the holidays? I guarantee you there's some out there. Okay? Why were they not there? Because of relationship problems. Because we've allowed that simmering stew to sit there and simmer. It will cause health issues. It will cause relationship problems and relationships to break apart. It will destroy relationships if it's not dealt with. Okay? So we need to be able to understand these different levels of anger to help us to be able to manage and to address them. Okay? So, how can we address them? How can we address our anger issues? Well, let's look at some activities that we can we can do, that we can join in with, that will help us to identify our anger. Okay? Anger journaling. Okay? If you like to write, this is a very good activity to do. You keep a record of all the situations that trigger your anger, what your response was, how you handled it. You could put, how long it affected you, things of that nature. Okay. So next is the anger scale. Okay. You can create a personal anger scale from 1 to 10, where 1 would be very mild irritation. Okay. But 10 would be extreme rage or suppressed or hidden anger. Okay? And then you could look back on it and you could look and see how your anger has progressed. Okay? And we're going to look at this. We're going to go into this one a little bit deeper here in just a minute. Okay. But next, self-assessment. How can you do a self-assessment? Well, there are anger assessment questionnaires. Matter of fact, we're going to be doing some in this course as we go along. Okay. But, we could ask ourselves certain questions. We could, look into a self-help book, things of that nature. Okay. Role playing. Okay. Here we could enact or reenact different scenarios that commonly trigger anger. Okay. In other words, one person could be the trigger person, the one that triggers something, and the other person would be the one that responds to it. Okay. And so you could just play it out. You could role play it. And I think it would be a very, could be very useful activity that you can do. Okay. So next is anger logs. Okay. Similar to the anger scale. Okay. You could develop a worksheet to help you track your triggers, maybe your physical responses, your thoughts, and your behaviors. How did you behave? What did you say? Things to that nature. Okay. Then there are therapeutic activities that you can do. One would be get involved in an anger management class. Okay. Go to counseling. Okay. With a therapist. Participate in this right here. This should be a therapeutic activity for you if you would do it. Okay. All right. Now, here will be your anger. This would be an anger scale. Okay. So on the left will be your triggers. What triggers your anger? Okay. Then to the right, you've got 5 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So 1, 2 would be mild irritation, or or minimum irritation. 9, 10, 3, 4 would be mild to moderate. 5, 6 would be moderate to intense. 7, 8 would be very intense. 9, 10 would be extreme rage or fury. Okay. It's hard for you to control yourself. Okay. So let's see here. Let me go here. 10. Okay. So let's say frustration. Things that are frustrating. What would be my anger scale? Let's say a 1 or a 2. Okay. What about unmet expectations? There's people that get really upset when things don't go the way they think they should go. Well, let's give it a 5 or a 6. Okay. Feeling disrespected. 3, 4. Criticism or rejection. Oh, there. Okay. But anyway, you would put a check mark. You could put a check mark or X, however you want to do it, color it in, whatever. But this would be a example of an anger scale. Okay. Now, I will say this. Okay. If in doing these activities like this, a couple things that you need to take in consideration. One is try to be 100% honest. Okay. Because it's not going to do you any good if you are not honest with yourself. Okay. You can go through there and mark all 1 and 2s. Oh, see, anger don't bother me. And then tomorrow you go out and cuss somebody out. Okay? We're trying to figure out what bothers us the most, why does it bother us, and how does it bother us. Okay? So that would be an anger scale. Okay? Or it could be a log. You could consider that an anger log or anger worksheet. Okay. Could be any or all the above. Okay. So next, let's talk about some misconceptions about anger, because there are some misconceptions about anger. Okay. So, what are some misconceptions? One is that anger is always negative. No, it's not always negative. Okay. But we do. We assume, and that's the way that we feel about anger, is that it is something that's negative that we need to stay away from. Isn't it? Yeah. Okay. But that is a misconception that anger is always negative. The next one is that anger should always be expressed. No, because yes, okay, let's look at this, okay? Can anger e- being expressed, can it be detrimental? Yes, okay? Anger being suppressed, can it be detrimental? Yes. Okay? We're going to look at some health issues. We're going to look at some health problems that we can have by suppressing our anger. Okay? So, yeah, expressing it or not expressing it, both can be detrimental. Okay? It just depends on if we express it appropriately or inappropriately. Okay. Number three, that anger is always visible. Okay. The key word here in all of these is the word always. Is anger always visible? No. Okay. You're gonna have people say, "Oh, I can control my anger. I don't have a problem controlling my anger. I can control my anger. I can control my anger." Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that. Nah, no. Okay. I will tell you this. I will promise you this. You can try to control. You can try to suppress your anger from coming out. But I will guarantee you this, one way or another, your anger will show itself at some point, somewhere. Okay? All right. The next misconception about anger is this, that it's rational. Anger is always rational. Nope. Okay? Sometimes anger arises from things that are irrational, or they may exaggerate our thoughts. Okay. Number five, that if we get involved in anger management, okay, i.e., doing this study. If I do this study, that means I'm suppressing my anger. No, you're not. Hopefully, you're going to learn to recognize your anger and how to deal with it in the future. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. Okay? So, being involved in means that you are suppressing your anger completely. It's understanding your anger. It's analyzing, responding to your anger. Okay. Number six, that anger is an inherited trait. Oh, I got my anger from my dad. My dad was angry. That's why I get my anger. Yeah, partly. Okay. Can it be an influence on your temperament and your responses to anger? Absolutely. What we're shown, we will repeat. Okay? If we're shown that we suppress our anger, most likely that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to suppress our anger. If we've been shown Hey, just throw your anger anywhere and everywhere. Then that's probably what we're going to do. Next, anger is a sign of weakness. No. No, it's not. It's not a sign of weakness, okay? By you learning to acknowledge and managing your emotions, the emotions of anger, that takes strength. That requires strength and self-awareness. Okay, 747. Well, I'm trying to decide whether. Yeah, I think we can get to it. Okay, so now, so what would be the right belief? What would be the right belief about anger? Understanding your anger's validity. What? What are we talking about here? Okay. First and foremost is to recognize that anger is an emotion. Okay? It's valid. Okay? Being angry about something is probably valid. If there's been an injustice done and you're angry over that, that's valid. You have a valid reason. Okay? Next thing is, it's natural. Anger is natural. So, yes, it's an emotion, it's valid, and it's natural. Okay? It's also a signal. Okay? You remember the car back in the day, you know? I'm going to say 60s, 70s. Most of the cars back then had warning lights. Didn't have gauges. Some had gauges, but for the most part, it was warning lights. Okay? And the one that I talk about the most and I refer back to is the temperature light on a car. Okay? Where it's overheating. What's the purpose of the red light? The purpose of the red light is to let you know that something needs your attention. There's an issue. There's a problem. Okay? So it needs our attention, or something needs to change. Next, the right belief is to reflect on your triggers. What's your triggers? Well, to understand them, we got to reflect on them. Okay? We need to understand what triggers our anger. Okay? One is by reflecting on it. Okay? Was it a situation? Is there a situation that come up? Okay? The trigger. So the situation happens. Something triggers you. Why did that situation trigger you? Okay. Then what is your emotional response? This is all part of reflecting back on your triggers. Okay. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Okay? There are two people that over the years I've heard over and over and over and over about when it comes to forgiveness. Okay? That the two people that people have the hardest time of forgiving is one, themselves. Okay? Be kind to yourself. Just because you got angry over something doesn't mean that you're a bad person. You just don't. Okay? Everyone experiences anger. It's just some do things differently than others. Okay? So it's the way you handle it. The way you express your anger. Okay? It's the way you handle it. That's what matters. Getting angry is not the main issue. It's how you handle that anger is the issue. Okay? Oh, look here. We got apple, got pear, lettuce, asparagus, tomato. Things that are good for you. Healthy. Yeah, there we go. Healthy expression. Okay? We have to find healthy ways. Okay? Yeah. Eating steak good? Yeah, absolutely. Eating steak is great. I love it. I love steak. But every once in a while we need some healthy ways, don't we? Yeah. When we find a healthy way to express our anger, then we're better able to communicate our feelings. The way we express and communicate it. And when we do that, we can be calm. We can do it calmly. We can be assertive, not aggressive. Okay. Yeah, starts with A, not aggressive. It's assertive. There's nothing wrong with being assertive. Hey, this is the way it is. This is the way I believe. This is, this is it. Explore the root cause. Look at that root. Look at how big that root, that little bitty plant. That thing's got 4 leaves, and look at all the root system on that thing. Okay? A lot of times, root cause of our anger is because of guilt. Could be guilt. Feel guilty. Okay? It could be deeper reasons. It could be this primary root right there. Deeper reason. How are we going to figure out what are the deeper reasons for maybe the root cause of our guilt? We have to explore our underlying beliefs. We need to look at our past experiences. Okay? When this has happened in the past to us, how did we respond? What did we do? What did we say? Okay? Number 6, learn anger management techniques. Okay? Learning anger management is not saying that you're a weakling. Okay? No, it takes. Okay, go. Deep breathing. Take deep, inhale deep, exhale. Okay? mindfulness. Be mindful of what happened, what you said, how you reacted, and then okay, there's going to be some that may need to seek professional help. So we shouldn't look at it as something bad. Okay? Hey, I'm sorry. I need just a little bit extra help here. Number 7, forgive yourself. And we kind of talked about that a little bit. Oh, okay. So, first thing we got to understand is what? It's okay to be angry. It's okay. It's okay that I feel angry. Okay? Forgive. Forgive yourself. For this emotion, for feeling that emotion. Forgive yourself. There's no reason to be guilty from it. Okay? And embrace it. Embrace the forgiveness. Because that is part of your emotional landscape. Okay? So we kind of talked about, so what is the misuse of anger? What is the misuse of anger? Okay? And we're going to start right here next week. Next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Okay? All right. If you have followed us on Victim Survivor Conqueror Ministry on Facebook. Okay? Go to Faith, Family, Forgiveness on Facebook. Okay. And we are going to, between now and March the 1st, I'm going to be transitioning the Victim Survivor Conqueror Ministry Facebook page over to Faith, Family, Forgiveness. FFF. Okay? So, on March the 1st, I'm not sure what the first Tuesday night after the 1st of March, there will no longer be a Victim Survivor Conqueror Ministry Facebook page. Okay? You will need to go to Faith, Family, Forgiveness. Okay? So I will get the exact date and everything next week. I didn't think about getting that date set, but I will do that. Okay? And we will start back next week with the misuse of anger. What is the misuse of anger? Okay? All right. Thank you for being here. Be sure and go to Faith Family Forgiveness Facebook page and like and follow our page. Okay. On YouTube Live, our channel will still be VSC Ministry. Okay. Just V as in Victor, S as in Sam, and C as in Charlie. Okay. VSC Ministry on YouTube Live. Okay. So like us over there, hit the subscribe button, and as always, This will stay on Facebook. You can go back if you missed part of it. You can go back and listen to all of it, some of it. Okay, so God bless and have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next week. Okay.